Thanks for all coming out on this beautiful winter's day. So we should do ABBA more often. I think it was such a good choice. So today, okay, let me just go back on that one. The day before I come to any sanctuary, I normally sit with my guides and I go like, okay, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? And I start writing down things, and then on the way here, we decide to speak about something else. So whatever I wrote down the night before comes out at some other time. It's never wasted, but it's just like if the energy is just not the same, then it's just going to be something else. So that's just how it is. And then I found this piece of paper that I wrote down some other times when my indecisive guides and I decided, nah. And that was based on simply let them. Because we work and we have around us, and we're all surrounded by people, obviously, and we all have different kind of interactions with them all the time. And let's face it, with people comes frustrations, comes hope, comes anger, comes happiness, comes all kind of arrays of it. But the thing is also with it, what I hear a lot is like, he or she, I wish they would do that, then I would feel like that. I wish they would make that choice, that they're better, that I feel better. So there is always some kind of ripple effect of what other people do or don't do or show up or don't show up, which will then affect how I feel, but not in a bad way necessarily, but we want them to be better than I feel better. If they would show up like that, it would be easier for me or them, and so on. There's this whole enmeshment of things. And if so-and-so would be nicer, it would be easier for me. If my boss wouldn't be so horrid, I would be much more productive. If my kids would be more compliant with cleaning their rooms, I wouldn't have to nag them all the time. So there's all this if, then. Then if so-and-so wouldn't always have to say so much about the neighbors this, then, and the next, then I wouldn't have to intervene in it all the time. There's this constant kind of. So at the end of the day, it's simply let them. We have such kind of expectations and molds and ideas of who people need to be in which way, that unless they fit in there, we can't be who we are, which is absolutely not true. Because we can be who we want to be and how we choose to show up irrespective of that. Because now it's as well as like, unless you don't act like that, I can't be like that. That means it's your fault if I'm faulty. That works well. I'm a screaming lunatic because you cued me off. It's not on me, it's you. Or I'm unhappy and constantly worrying because this child of mine, which is in varsity somewhere, just won't eat properly. So I lay awake every single night worrying if she eats. Well, she's still kicking, she's still walking, she's still talking. She seems to be somehow keeping herself alive. Yeah, but she's not eating properly. She's alive, she's kicking, she's talking, she's studying, she's good. No, but unless she eats properly, which we will never know, let's face it. I've been in varsity. If my mom would know what I ate, she would still shake her head. But that's not the point. It's always if others show up in certain ways that I need them to be, I cannot be in other ways. I cannot be who I need to be. Or friends of mine went out for dinner, they didn't invite me. Ooh, that's a bad one. Because if they don't invite me, that means they are really bad friends. I don't know what the dinner was about. I don't even know where they went. I don't even know if it happened. Somebody told me. So that means there's something going on. Oh, they don't like me. Or they were skinnering about me whole night. And I'm sure that was Susie. Susie always starts it. And then Mary jumps onto it. And then she tells her husband, because that one went fishing with the other one. And this one's husband came back and told me, like, what's wrong with the girls? We don't know these things, but we have these preconceived ideas. So if anybody goes for dinner and didn't invite you or whatever, let them. If you're really that worried, ask them. If people have a different opinion to you, let them. You might even learn something. Does it matter? If somebody wants to be grumpy or sad or happy or in your eyes difficult, which is also a bit objective, let them. If somebody repeatedly wants to make, in your eyes, silly, stupid, or unfavorable decisions, let them. You can hold space for them, but you can't stop them. Let them. If somebody wants to continuously be rude to you, disrespectful to you, or whatever, let them. Because what you're doing is, I'm not saying be a doormat. Let them show who they want to be and who they truly are, in their good or in their bad. That you have a true choice of choosing who you want to be within that. Let them. Because if you let them, you give yourself permission to be who you are. If you want to be constantly rude to me, I can spend the rest of my life to teach you manners, which you either take or don't. Or I can say, I'm not okay with this right now, and I take a bit of a distance or whatever. You've got the right to be you, like I've got the right to be me. I haven't got no right to put you in any kind of mold and hold you accountable for it. No matter how good or bad I think it is. Let them. People disagreeing, let them. People thinking all kind of things of you, let them. You're going to be the one with having sleepless nights over it. For what? Somebody else's opinion that you do not have any kind of control over. But you volunteer sleepless nights and anger, frustrations, stomach problems, back problems, high blood pressure. Did you hear what Susie said? No, I'm not interested. But we are having a reaction to people based on expectations that we even forget to tell them that they are being held to. We don't tell people every time you go for dinner with the friends, you better tell me, because otherwise I'm going to crucify you. And you're going to be, in my head, the reason for all my misery and sleepless nights. These people are blissfully unaware of it. Who says they didn't go for dinner and were planning a surprise party for me? Do I know that? No. Is it any of my business? No. Let them. Let them. As much as I have wonderful friends, I've got different sets of friends for different reasons. I don't want to have all of them at every dinner. No. I want to be with one at one time and with three at another time and five at another time. I want to have those for lunch and those for dinner on that day and those on the other day. And if they have an issue with each other, they must have it. That's not mine. It's theirs. Because you know what? Let them. We're all allowed to have it. Because what happens if we do that, we are not bringing our own self, true self out either. Because then we behave according to our perception of what that is. Because if you don't do what I think you should be doing, then I behave in an altered way to get you to do that. So I'm not just being Heike either. Now I'm somehow trying to manipulate you to behave in a way that I feel better. And if you don't do that, then I'm going to somehow punish you for it. I shout at you, or I manipulate you, or I kind of like, because of you, I didn't sleep last night. I hope you feel happy. Whatever my... So whatever we normally have as our go-to, it normally comes in one way. At the passive aggressiveness, it's like, hope you had a nice dinner last night. Why do we do that? And by the time we say and do those things, we set hours stewing over it. Let them, that you can be. Let them, that they can let you be. Let them. But then also, let them show up if they want to show up how they want to. Let them show you that they want to be part of it or not. Let them make proof that they want to be part of it in the way they want to be part of it. Let them be human, just like you show up fully who you are. We don't let others be who they are because we don't want to be vulnerably showing up truly as we are. Because as long as it's your fault how I feel, I don't need to be accountable for it. It's my husband that makes me miserable. Well, sure, who chose the husband? He didn't even know I existed when he was born. And vice versa. Somewhere along the line, I chose to have that dude. Sorry, Han, we come and talk about it later. It's my choice within that. And if I want to say, unless you do that, that I feel like that, that's nonsense. It makes no sense. We have no control over that. And that's passing the buck. And that's okay. Let them. Let them. If people want to tell you you are faulty, you have an attitude, you're too sensitive, you are whatever, you are too much or too little in other people's eyes, let them think that. You have it, knock yourself out. I am the way I am because I feel I want to be like that right now, right today, in this moment. I might feel different tomorrow, but if I want to have a glorious meltdown today, I am having it. Why? Because this is me today in my truest form. So you're either having it, not having it. You can choose how you're aligning yourself towards that. But you do not get to choose who I am in this moment. Done. Like it, don't like it, whatever version you have a whole variety of options. You do not have the options if I'm having a glorious meltdown now or not. You do not. Absolutely not. You can say, hey, I'll phone you later, Heike. That's fine, whatever. But you do not get this choice. Just like I do not get the choice on how you're going to react to it. And I need to let you, like you need to let me. And it's much less stressful. Much less stressful. All of us to a certain extent said, I wish so-and-so would make that choice, that he would get a better job or would be a better finance. It does come from a good place. But we do not have any kind of influence on it. I would stress less if he or she would have a better relationship or leave that guy or that girl. We have absolutely no influence on that. Let them have it, do it, make those choices. Hold the space, but stay out of the energy. No matter how well you mean or not. It doesn't just go with good energies. Very often we go like this, frickin' bugger. I hope he drops dead and gets a heart attack. Right? Like, let's stay out of that energy especially. But we're human. We can be angry. We can do all of those. But we need to own it. So what others do, be, show up or not, let them. But the other thing is as well, if other people that we trust and that are there and that we want to have in our inner circle want to be there for you, let them do that too. It's one thing letting them do what they want to do and who they want to do, but very often what we forget within that is we're so busy who they need to be when there is things when we're out of balance. Are we letting them be there? Are we letting them in? So also let those that you trust, let them be there on the ugly, not just on the good. Let them be there on the meltdowns and not just on the celebrations. Let them be there and love you when you can't love yourself. Let them be there on your vulnerable and not just on your strong. Let them goes in many, many ways. But let them be there in the good ways. Let them be there in their human ways that they choose to be. But also let yourself be who you are. It's the removing of judgment and the control that it needs to be different. The removing of resistance of what it is not right. We're all human. We're not supposed to be perfect. The fact that we're human is already ruling that out. So whoever had this whole idea of perfection, you can just put it wherever the sun doesn't shine because it does not exist. So it does not exist. It cannot exist because we are human. Alone the fact that all of us are sitting here, standing here, whatever way and what form we are here or not, means we are all here to learn something. And alone the fact that we're in human form here to learn something means we can't be perfect. We're using it to flog ourselves and giving ourselves a hard time and self-sabotaging. Perfection does not exist. So we might just as well drop that and have some fun with our human imperfection and just let it play out. Be a glorious mess and a glorious wonderful. Make it count. You might just as well tell your grandchildren stories when they're like, way, right? Instead of like, please don't do that. Make sure it's worth it. Just make sure you don't end up in jail. That's how we live. Of course, you don't want them to be in danger. But how do we learn with being human? Let them show up, let them be. As you said with Leanne as well, all of a sudden she was gone, and what a glorious woman she was. I mean, what glorious energy she still is. But it's like embracing, and it's about being there, the good, the bad. This is how we grow. If we wouldn't have loss, we wouldn't have joy. If we wouldn't have the up, we wouldn't have the down. Let people challenge you. How do you know in which areas you still need to grow? You do not need to take every invitation, but you can consider them. Let the world be the world. Let the people be the people. You don't need to agree with everything. How boring would that be? Imagine everybody agreeing all the time. Now that would be one where I would get freaked out. Sure, Heike. No, that's not who we are. There's nothing to learn. There's nothing to grow. Let them, but also let them in. Not just anybody, of course, but let them in. Let them be there. This whole thing of perfection is like I can only let people be there when I'm good. My idea of perfect and good and strong and together and whatever. No. Let them see all of you, that they have the same proper choice that you have when you let them be who they are. Because that's the only time we can have that connection, the true connection. It's impossible to have true connection with someone when you only ever see one side that person thinks is the polished side. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible to have a meaningful relationship. So let them. Let yourself. Let them in, let them out, let them up, let them down, whatever they choose. But let them disconnect from that it needs to be different. But most of all also, let yourself be who you are. Because it's perfect the way it's supposed to be. We always look at what we are not instead of who we are. So let yourself be as gloriously human as you are. Let them around you be who they are. And let your life be exactly that. Has never anything been wrong in the first place. So let them and let yourself. Thank you.